talking about the need for the market and how do we get around it.
We're training her to be a therapist.
Taking the picture.
up here 1 second, guys. Let the jackal out. This one is organised by the people who own it. Yeah. Run by
There's enough room in the back for the radio. One of them, Tommy.
The tanks that they'd had in the factory already in 1940. It takes us a year or two before we actually move on to new models. Now what we're seeing now, this was a tank designed to replace the British cruiser tank called the Cavalier that you will have seen saw action in the Western Desert. This was going to be the next cruiser, in other words the part of the British. But it was designed in 1942. It doesn't actually access to the Normandy campaign in 1944. Then the next one was the Centaur with an improved Liberty engine. And the last in the series, when finally the engines were available and ready, was called the Cromwell. So I hope you remember all that, because there's a test at the end of the day and you're not allowed home unless you can get 9 out of 10 on that, so pay attention. So this one, the Centaur, doesn't see action as a fighting tank, mainly for training. They use that Cromwell with the Rolls-Royce engine, but some of these were converted into other roles. So this has got a 75mm quick-firing British gun on it. It was basically a 6-pounder gun that was bored out to take the same ammunition as the American Sherman tank. But another version was given a 95mm howitzer, and they would use that was designed at the Wooded Arsenal, so that's why all the tanks look the same. Quite a different line of along. And that would have the bigger gun in the turret that could fully rotate, and the Grant could only take a much smaller 37mm. Now the 75mm, they took that from the First World War French design. It was put in the hull. They copied what the French had done on the Sharpie, and the British had done with their early Churchill tanks with the gun in the hull. And as it goes past, you'll see this Grant tank. It's a very tall tank. That's because the Americans were using their aeroplane engines, the radial engine in the back of this, the R975 aeroplane engine, and that meant it had to be quite tall to house the engine. Transmission goes through to the front, and on top of that, the Americans, for their design, decided they wanted the radio in the hull. Now we didn't like that, so we designed, a guy called Carr designed this new turret you can see on the very top there, and that meant we could put the radio back behind where the commander is. So this one's called the Grant, the American version, exactly the same but just slightly different on the turret, is called the Lee. And about 3,000 was named. So this is the Chaffee coming around now, the M24 Chaffee. That was actually named after a later American, actually, this one. 75mm gun on it. So the same size gun as the Sherman tank had, much thinner armour, but angled so it gave more thickness to a round that was coming horizontally at it, and a Cadillac engine in the back that gave it a tremendous amount of speed. Force and bar suspension, so a twisted metal support, so they designed their first service in the back of the boat. And that gun was originally designed for a 24 bomber. They were going to actually have them firing at U-boats or shipping from the base of the aeroplane. Now the Americans came up with the idea of a tank destroyer. It looks like a tank, but actually got thin breakthrough or appear on the battlefield. Now it was a nice idea in theory, but it didn't really work in practice. You never had your right kind of vehicle in place at the right time. And the tendency it looks like treated like a tank, but it hasn't got the same thickness of armour. So they ended up just really not using them in this original speedy ambush type setting that they were originally meant for. The first one they put out was just basically a half track with an anti-tank gun on the top. Then they had the M10 with the American 3 gun in Britain. We put our 17-pounder gun on those and called it the Achilles. And then this American one we're seeing is actually improved. It's got the same hull as the M10, but on top they've got a larger gun. That's the particular version. That's for service with Yugoslavia. And it's got a Soviet engine. It was re-engined by the Soviets. It's got a T-55 diesel engine in the back. Now you're seeing another famous World War II tank, the T-34. This one, the T-34 85. 85mm gun. The earlier ones had a 76mm gun, so hence T-34 76. Size of the gun, the size of the hole. You're finding mines with your feet. So that Soviet way of simplifying the tank, lessening the number of arms, very clean, which meant they could make massive numbers of T-34. They were going to build a new model tank, the T-44, but they decided to just improve the particular turret, bigger gun, and it worked for them. Those T-34s were made in the tens of thousands. Being quickly aware of how Russia is proud of their efforts in the Great Patriotic War, imported a few years ago back to Russia 30 T-34-85s from Laos, where they'd ended up. They got spread all around the world, fed to communist countries or sold on, and brought back 30 of them for parade. There's that Chaffee going past. One of the Cadillac designers of the Chaffee was a guy called Harley Earl, and after the Second World War he decided to put all those bits on. In the end they make over 600,000 Jeeps by the end of 1945, and then it's carried on being built in other countries. Hotchkiss, the French company, carried on making Jeeps after World War II to a slightly better build standard, interestingly, because again, after the war, more materials are available, etc. But the idea of the Jeep, you can turn it on its side, it's got flat sides so you can work underneath it, flat bonnet so the windscreen can be laid down in front of you, or you could use that bonnet as a bit of a mat table or working surface. And of course the Jeep was adapted to so many different roles in its service life. Passed on to British and Commonwealth forces, supplied to the Russians as part of Lend-Lease. So, and as I mentioned, 600,000, so there are still a lot around. Their prices have gone up because they're just what everyone wants. It fits in a garage, etc., road legal. But keep your eyes open, and there's post-war variants and all sorts of things out there. And it's obviously, for everybody, a very fun-looking vehicle. Now, other vehicles we've seen already are Diamond T go around. At the beginning of the Second World War, the Americans first of all asked lots of civil manufacturers. They basically get commercial designs, paint them green, add a grill at the front to push aside brushwood, anything else that way, and then put them into service. It's only 1942 that they've come up with a new series of vehicles purposely designed, but sometimes using all the running gear or engines from pre-war American commercial designs. Diamond T manufactured huge numbers of these prime movers to tow artillery, tow Rogers trailers. And another example of that American mass production coming past, one of the WC series by Dodge. Dodge starts life back in the turn of the century. Two Dodge brothers, they set up a factory in Detroit where they make precision parts for other car manufacturers, people like Henry Ford. 1914 they make their own car for the first time, and then they start making trucks for the American military. As I mentioned, America doesn't buy much in the way of military equipment in the 30s, but they've been experimented with. And so WC, some people think it stands for weapons carrier. It's actually the year code for Dodge, and a class W for the year code. V was the previous year, and the C is the weight category of what it can carry. And that WC stuck, and in the end, instead of changing it each year, they basically, the American military said, we're going to call all of these Dodge vehicles WC, and then they gave them a number, and they actually made over 50 variants of Dodges with basically the same engine, 80% of the same parts, which is great, of course, because that means, again, spare parts are easily available because you don't have enormous ranges of parts to have to supply. Now, the ambulance that went past, that's gone past you, I wondered yesterday, maybe it was my yearning for Sylvia Sims, I wondered if it was a K2 like in Ice Cold in Alex. I was corrected on that. This is actually a Morris commercial ambulance, and again, the British Army, even though we were the first fully mechanised army in Europe, we still took in vehicles in 1939, 1940 from civilian contractors. We had a bounty scheme, as it were. You were paid money if your vehicle was going to be made available to the military. This Morris commercial ambulance, based on the Morris commercial vehicle, basically a light truck that was being used in civilian life before the war. And this is a rare one because most of the Morris commercials were sent out with the BEF in 1940 and were lost basically and left behind at Dunkirk. They then went on to making those Austin K2s that we see in things like Ice Cold in Alex. So this particular ambulance going round, a bit of a rarity there. Now some
Here's a mortar here. Fire! There we go. Where's that going to land? No.
Just fire! Miss fire!
Missed fire.
That's better than what it was yesterday.
I've gone more to round during the ball.
Laden! Fire!
No, it comes out the bottom. It's just a
They
choice.
don't look real anyway. The real ones are not that.
They're not actually, they're not as loud as the victory shot.
No.
Really. Unless the flag on them.
They've only got rid of the twice.
I don't actually.
Laden! Fire! Listen, bit of fire.
And it gets that round a bit. I can't see that.
Laden! Fire!
Good, isn't it? The mate's got one. He flew it around for Winston and that. He's put it there. He's got it.
It's a 249 grams.
Yeah,
Once you
so,
go to,
yeah.
once you go above that, and it knows at 200 grams, you're talking about a gram. And again, that might be a big one.
But he, the other year, it was still doing right. And he flew it up the road. Over Winston and got it. There, that's it. Isn't it? Well, that's it. No, Victor's done. One time,
won't work. Yeah, they are.
That's what Elka. Yeah, that's
Yeah, there's something too sensitive. He's probably been
Probably
there.
has, yeah.
He should have been right up. Hang on. It's actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah, anyway.
I'll tell you what, that was a starboard corner.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like the Allies won. We paid our money in the right place there, but give them a round of applause. It keeps them off the streets and...